Chapter 33. I came through the door at the safe house expecting to be overwhelmed. I was not disappointed. Even Tony on guard duty had been overwhelming as I walked into the garage. He had offered to get the door for me. I just smiled as I opened it myself. "Where is he?" Nella shouted from across the room as I absorbed the silent stares from everyone else in the cell. Everyone I had met was there, plus a few new faces. "Glad to see you too, Nella." All conversations stopped, and the group formed a semicircle around me. A quick search told me that Tiffany did not make it back. "Daniel is still being held by the hunters," I said, "presumably in his former test facility." Nella was collapsing in a chair, slumped over, fists still clenched. It looked to be a mixture of despair and rage. She spoke in a low tone. "He is lost." I stepped toward her and picked up her fist, opening it to accept my hand. "Oh no, Nella, you are mistaken." She looked up at me and I smiled. "Daniel will be free, and I will free him." She shook her head, saying, "And how many lives will be lost when you fail? No, we do not engage the enemy this way, not in this cell. I have kept us alive and growing longer than anyone prior. We cannot lose ground now. This is how cells are annihilated. Of course, they are keeping him alive. They want us to attack. Just like our fortress is built to protect us from hunters, theirs is built to protect them from us." "I'm not asking you or anyone from this cell to go, Nella. I said that I will free him, and I am not part of your cell." Her look of rage softened, her eyes wet with tears. The lines in Nella's face were deeper, the bags under her eyes heavy. "You need some sleep, old lady. I'll take it from here." A voice behind me asked, "And what do we do to help?" It was the soft-spoken Juliet. "There are a few ways that can help that will not involve endangering your cell, Juliet." Her eyes widened and she opened her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. "It's okay. I understand why you stay in the background. You should be aware that the Fallen know that Nella is not the leader. They are looking for you, but they still don't know who you are." Juliet stood carefully and asked, "How do you know this information?" I smiled and replied, "Oh, I've had quite the evening. They were trying to get information out of me, specifically the leader of our cell. I didn't know it was you until later." I paused, reflecting on my long conversation sitting on the beach with my sister, or someone who looked like my sister. "All I can tell you is that your secret is still safe." "I need to know who you told." I shook my head. "Sorry, I'm not allowed to share that information." Mac had come to stand by his wife's side and was about to defend her, so I cut him off. "Don't even try. I'm just not in the mood." A commotion at the door diverted the attention off me as Mike walked through. He was in a frantic rush, but froze seeing me in the middle of the room. All eyes on him, he finally spoke. "I thought you were dead." "The reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated." I always wanted to say that. "I'm sorry, Finn. We should have asked what happened to you tonight," Nella said. Mike waved her off. "There's no time. A large pack of hunters is converging on this location. We need to move fast." "How did they find our location? Was someone followed?" I shook my head. "They've known for a long time. Remember, they are patient. They have been waiting for the right opportunity, and here we all are together, waiting to be restarted as a group. Plus, I may have poked the wrong bear." Zoo and Jack moved over to the computer sitting on the kitchen table and pulled up the outside security monitors. I could see Tony standing in the alley looking nervous. Apparently Mike had passed on his good cheer on the way in. "Jack, I need another favor from you right away." "Now's a bad time," Jack replied tersely. "We need to vacate and move to our secondary location." "This is more important." All eyes shifted to me, wondering what could be more important than securing the cell's safety. I looked at Juliet for an answer. "I will keep them away. You will have plenty of time to move later. Right now, I need information." Juliet nodded to Jack. Jack sighed. "Well, what do you need?" I ignored his annoyance and said, "I need to know everything you have that is connected to a yacht called Chiron's Delight." Chiron's Delight. Sounds like an ice cream parlor, Mac interjected from behind me. Mike answered before I could. Chiron is the Greek god responsible for ferrying the dead across the river Styx. Interesting that they chose that as a name for their boat. The fallen are very proud of the false stories and myths that they have propagated throughout the ages. It's a yacht, probably in a slip near Atlantic City. I need to know who owns it, who pays taxes on it, does repairs on it, everything. Somehow it will lead back to their network and should connect us with Daniel. That got Nella's attention. How does this connect with Daniel? She asked with renewed interest. I believe that he was on the ship when they captured me. They wouldn't let me see him, but it was too much of a coincidence that they brought me out to the ocean. They were already going somewhere, and I happened along. Well, what happened? Jack asked. Mike cleared his throat and slowly shook his head side to side. I'm not allowed to give more information on what happened. I am here with a very specific task. Save Daniel and all the children trapped at the fallen camps. I don't understand, Juliet said. Who gave you these orders? The elders and guardians we consult never give us orders, only advice and direction. All I can tell you is that I chose this mission as my role in the Great War. In doing so, I cannot share certain details and things I have learned. Jack turned back to the computer and began punching keys. And do you think it's wise just sit and wait for them to attack? Mac asked from behind me. I do. Let them come. I look forward to educating them on the real power of creation. The looks were a mixture of awe and fear. They had planned at length for this situation, and the plan was to run. Just like everything else this cell did, the plan was always hide or run. Not this time, though. Nella walked over and spoke quietly to Juliet, who was looking just as conflicted as the rest. Finally, Juliet shook her head and said, Enough, Anatella. I hear you. This time we will do it Finn's way. Perhaps the tide is changing. Perhaps we will make a difference, right now. We will rebuild and hide again, but today we will follow Finn. She turned to me and asked, How do you plan on stopping them? Surely you will need all our help. I smiled, knowing that the fallen had no idea what was coming. I will take care of the fallen hunters. Right now, I just need to buy some time for Jack. Till I know where Daniel is located, I cannot move. The loud crash of steel bolts slamming into place made everyone jump. The door security had been activated. The few near the door moved quickly away, probably to go and get fresh underwear. I looked at the security monitor on Zoo's laptop and saw the alley full of hunters. They must have converged so quickly that we didn't notice till it was too late. Tony was lying on the ground with a hunter's knee across his throat, a knife pointed to his eye. But my attention was on the figure in the background, a girl with long legs and combat boots. She had her hands bound behind her and blood running down her face. I closed the laptop. It's showtime.